After watching the footage and completing other sessions that included introductions, detailed revelation of the covered project, and a Q&A session, all participants appeared confident and clear. The president, noticing this, decided to conclude the session by asking for a vote of acceptance from all participants. Respected ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the last stage of the meeting. Before asking for the vote of acceptance, I would like to inform you that those who accept our offer must report to the White House in 20 days from today. I understand this doesn't give you much time, but you must make a decision. For those who accept, Mr. William and Miss Sansa will help with visas, air tickets to Washington, D.C. for family members, and accommodation at the Eisenhower Executive Building near the White House. A welcome bonus of $2,000 will be provided to everyone who accepts this offer. Now I request Nelson to lead the vote of acceptance, the president announced, nodding at Nelson. Nelson took over and spoke. Respected ladies and honorable gentlemen, I understand that you don't have much time to consider the offer from the White House. However, it's time for you all to make a decision that can change your life for the better. According to the process of accepting votes, I will call each participant's name one by one, and all you have to do is accept or reject the offer, stating your reason. Am I clear? Nelson looked at all the participants, allowing them a moment to decide. Soon, the LED screen lit up and displayed the names of all 12 participants. The first two names were William Matt and Sansa Marigold, with a green check mark indicating they had accepted the offer to join the secret mission EMIB. Once everyone settled, Nelson cleared his throat and called the first name, Dr. James Bauer. James glanced at Melina once, and then smiled broadly at the president. I humbly accept your offer, Mr. President. I aim to complete the mission I started 4 years ago, and see it through. Other participants at once applauded, and James noticed Melina was among the clapping crowd too. Nelson then called out Melina's name, and she looked up awkwardly at James. After a moment of tension, Melina confidently stated, I accept your offer, Mr. President. Like Dr. James, I want to see this mission we started together come to fruition. The applause was once again enthusiastic, and Nelson couldn't help but notice James turning red and trying to hide his reaction. Mr. Boris Ivanov, Nelson called out next. Boris, with a shaky voice, accepted the offer, expressing gratitude for the president's trust in his abilities. He mentioned his own country's lack of interest in him and declared his dedication to serving for the greater good cause. The president nodded approvingly, and the others clapped briefly. Mr. Ben Becker, Nelson called next. Becker accepted the proposal, emphasizing the opportunity to showcase his skills with machines for the benefit of future science. The president welcomed Ben with a smile, and the applause was brief but supportive. Dr. Mark Logan, Nelson called out the next name. Logan let out a sigh and spoke, Mr. President, I accept your offer. Attending 8 young lives means a lot to me. Earlier, despite being a doctor, I failed to save my young son. I consider this mission a second chance, and I promise you that I will do everything to protect those young recruits. After receiving a short round of applause, Dr. Logan wiped his tears with his handkerchief, becoming quite emotional as he recalled the young face of his deceased son. Nelson allowed some time for everyone to recover, as they felt for the untimely tragic death of Dr. Logan's son. Once everyone felt better, Nelson called out the next name, Dr. Ming Su. Although Dr. Su looked uncertain for a moment, she then looked at the president with confidence and expressed, "Although becoming a chief of a big hospital was my life goal, I understand that this project is much more than that. I feel as if something greater good is beckoning me. Considering the same, I accept your offer, Mr. President." Others immediately clapped, looking at the determined face of Dr. Su. Nelson invited the next name, Mr. Samuel Bard. Samuel coughed before speaking and said, "Having been falsely accused in the death of my little daughter, I thought I was no good and that my life had no meaning or purpose. I must thank you for providing me a second chance to prove myself. I sincerely accept your offer, Mr. President, and assure you that I will safeguard the young recruits with my life." The president smiled empathetically at Samuel, as others applauded his decision. "Mark Kelson," Nelson uttered, looking at the only man clad in dark glasses. "I accept the offer, Mr. President. I would love to be a part of this project," Kelson expressed with a smile on his face. The participants noticed that every time a participant accepted the offer, the green light on the LED screen switched on with a glow. Nelson looked at the online screen to make sure that Ramakrishna Shastri was online and called out his name, Sri Ramakrishna Shastri. Ramakrishna ji expressed in a humble voice, "I accept your offer, Mr. President. However, I would like to bring to your attention that I have no interest in the remuneration, credit and fame that come with the offer. I plan to donate most of it to an orphanage located at Bengaluru city in India. I see this offer as an opportunity to prove to the world that the contents written in the Hindu holy book, Shrimadbhagwatam, are not false or fiction. As we proceed with the project, I am sure that many things will prove that the realms theory written in Hindu cosmology is true." Most surprisingly, the president folded his hands and bowed to the Indian spiritual master, admiring the holiness of the old man. Everyone clapped and folded their hands at Ramakrishna ji to show their respect. Nelson looked at the LED screen to make sure Mata Radhadevi was online and called her name, Mata Radhadevi. Mataji smiled gently and spoke, "I believe this is all a game of God. He intends to do something greater good, and we are all his actors. Believing the same, I accept your offer, Mr. President." The president and Nelson again folded their hands and bowed at Mataji while others applauded her divineness. The president cast a glance at another LCD screen, where he found all 12 names displayed with a green tick and a glowing green button. Beaming at the success of the meeting, the president stood up and declared, "I sincerely thank all the participants of this meeting for accepting my offer. I request you all to keep this information confidential and make arrangements for your travel. We have a project on our hands, and let's work together as a team for a greater good cause."